Good afternoon, everybody. Big V, Verl Workman here. Welcome to today's Flash Briefing. We have an exciting guest today. Actually, we don't have an exciting guest. We have an amazing guest, one of my favorite people in the whole world, Miss Sarah Bernard. Sarah, thank you so much for being here today.
You are so welcome. I'm glad to be here.
You know, I was thinking about you earlier today and how I've missed having any face-to-face interaction with all of our coaches and our clients, and it's been weird.
It has been weird. I totally agree with that. It's definitely missed.
You know, you don't realize how much you appreciate just the human connection that happens when we do a coach training or when we get together for an event. And then all of a sudden you have 6 months where you're not interacting, and Zoom just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the Zoom is great. It definitely, I mean, there's times that we use Zoom. I know with Workman, with our coaching group, we're used to getting together every few months, which is really great. And I know we're all missing that right now. But if you think about the way Zoom does connect us with people that we don't normally even get to see at all, like, for example, clients who we might make a phone call, but now we're doing Zoom instead. It's actually such a great connector. So we have to remember that. But I agree with you. There's nothing that replaces face-to-face and those hugs that we get when we all get together. And
Right.
oh,
Well, here's your virtual Verl hug. It's like, here it
yay.
is. It's real.
Thank you.
Sarah, it's exciting to be here. For those that don't know Sarah Bernard, she's an exceptional individual, a great leader, and just has a tremendous life experience. Sarah, tell us just a little bit about your background, and then maybe a little about your current company.
Okay, perfect. So I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, right in the middle of the country. That's where I am normally. Actually, at this very moment, I'm in the middle of Manhattan in New York City. So that's another whole story. But getting my kiddo off to college.
Oh, fun.
But I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I was born and raised. And my background professionally is really marketing, corporate marketing. I have an MBA from Washington University in St. Louis, and came up through traditional branded marketing, that kind of corporate work. And then I'd say about 12 years ago, I sort of started a foray into real estate, doing property management of vacation rentals, sort of pre Airbnb even. VRBO was the only player out there. So I started doing that just as a way to give people an opportunity to experience a vacation getaway without purchasing a second home. And then a few years after that, I reluctantly, and I really want to emphasize that, got into the buying and selling of real estate. And I was reluctant because my image of real estate agents was kind of negative. And not that I thought they didn't know what they were doing or any of these things that we sometimes hear about, but it was more the hobbyists, the people that at least I saw in my market sometimes who would do real estate part-time and go play tennis the rest of the day. And I just didn't, that wasn't the image I had of myself. But as I started to learn more about real estate and realize it's truly a business, and if you run it like a business, you can be super successful. When I really understood that, I embraced it and took it on, and with the intention from the very beginning that it would be more than just showing homes. It would be truly a business that I could grow over the years. So 2014 is when I started that side of the business, and I've been doing that ever since. And then alongside all of that, I also, as you know, Verl, have a TV background, have been working in television hosting for, oh gosh, over a decade in our community in St. Louis. And so that's something that I can bring also to my business, which is great. So
I'm totally going to talk to you more about that. You've had some cool, fun projects coming up that are going to utilize some of that background. So out of curiosity, you know, it's funny because a lot of people have the same perception of realtors. They think that, I mean, really, the truth is that it's easier to get your real estate license than it is to get a license to cut someone's hair. And so because of the low barrier of entry, a lot of people get into the business to try it out because they love houses, or they like design, or they want to save the commission on their own home. And so the consumers, our buyers and sellers, oftentimes have the same perception you did. I know my experience with realtors when I sold my first house was, seriously, I paid all that money for what? And now when you see people that really do a great job, they're worth every penny, and you would pay them over and over again because they're true business people. So
yeah.
I love that differentiation.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we bring to our clients when we embrace it in that way is the team, and clients see the value. It's not just one person that they're meeting who's going to show them a house and get the deal done, but it might be a whole team, and everyone has their specialty, and that even adds value in their eyes to what we bring to the table.
Yeah, I love when I look at your numbers and how you've grown and the things that you've done over just the last 3 or 4 years have been pretty cool. And it's been amazing to see your, not just your personal growth, but your financial growth as it's kind of changing your, what you believe is possible as you've turned your property management business into also a real estate company. Before you answer any more questions, I want to encourage everybody who's jumping on Facebook Live. I know Irene's saying hello, and John Miller says to tell you hi. You got some good rate. Bernie says hi. We've got a lot of good fans of yours on the call. Just encourage you to come in and tell us who you are, where you're from. Say hi to Sarah. And also, I want you to think about, like, ask her the hard questions. Sarah said before we started this Facebook Live today to bring it. She says, give me any hard question. You can't ask me a hard enough question. And I said, all right, we'll do it. So if you have a hard question, or you want to know how to grow, or just how to look this great on television, Sarah's a great person to ask for that. I'm trying to increase my video image, Sarah. I need some help from you because you look great today.
Oh, thank you. Well, you look great yourself. Actually, you really do. So, and I don't think I think there was the viralism of bring it. There isn't a hard question I can't answer, but that's okay. Bring it on. I'm all ears.
Well, I love that. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your journey. So you started in marketing and kind of corporate America. Like, were you doing a project in school that got you into property management? What was the trigger that made you think, hey, we should do something with vacation rentals? Because that's kind of an odd way to get into real estate. It's not normal.
I know it's not normal at all. So really what the trigger was, I had a vacation home. I had a weekend home of my own that was an hour outside of town. So it was pretty close. It wasn't a big effort to go there. And I had 3 kids. And what I experienced was this opportunity to bring my kids into nature, really, and all summer long or on the weekends. And it was such a great opportunity for them. In the community that we live, a lot of the kids went away to summer camp in the summertime. And I thought, I don't want my kids to leave me in the summertime. I want to have camp with them. So
I
I
love it.
we bought a second home with the idea being that when school ended, we would pack up the kids and the cats and everything, and we go out and spend our summer at this other home. But while there, I realized, we met this woman one time who had 4 kids, and she was renting a place for a month. And I thought, wow, that is really a great idea. And it wasn't something that was widely done at this resort. But I dug into it and I saw, well, this actually is allowed, even though nobody was really capitalizing on that opportunity. And I thought, I really think other families could experience this time with their kids and this time in nature in a way that I'm doing, but maybe they can't afford or don't want to spend their money on a second home, but we can make it available to them for short-term rental. And I mean, truly, it was a new idea in the marketplace. I mean, today everyone's talking about it. It's the huge thing, but it was just an idea that I had at the time. And I then really within probably 3 weeks of that seed of an idea, I purchased a property that was an investment property at the resort that I would use only for rentals. And so that's how it started. And then soon thereafter, it didn't take long for word to spread, and people asked me if I could manage their properties so they could make income from theirs as well when they weren't using it. So it just grew like any great idea does. And that's where we ended up. And now we've got 15 or 16 properties that we're managing. And I've got a team of really fantastic people managing that part of the business. And we've got 6 properties coming on. We're looking at a statewide license with a really great company out of Colorado. So that is like taken on a life of its own. And we're very well known in the marketplace for our rental, our vacation properties. So.
So I love that. So when you started, how did you measure success? Was it on nightly rentals, or how many, like, what was your, like, what did you believe was a good business? If you could just do this, I'd call that a win. Do you remember that?
Absolutely. It was 100 nights a year. That was what my goal, book 100 nights a year. And I knew that I did the math, and if I could break even on all my expenses at 100 nights, and anything over that was gravy. So that's what has always been sort of our rule of thumb, is that 100 night break even, and then we expand upon that. So.
All right. So now my big question to you now is, how many nights will you book this year?
Oh my goodness. We're like almost at 3,000 nights. we,
Right.
we have a lot of properties, but all of our properties are over 100 nights and we're in August. So we still have 4 months to go. And we are just like swimming in opportunity right now. We don't have enough properties. I've always had this dream that in order to book a Sarah Bernard property, you need to be planning 2 or 3 months out. It's just been a dream. And I've always said to my team, if we could achieve that, we're it, right? And we are right now, you have to book 3 months out if you want a night at one of our properties. So we're there and we're super excited about it.
I love that. It's funny how you used to think 100 would be great. Now you're doing 3,000. You're like, I think we can double. I think
Oh
we
my,
can double
it's
that.
insane. And we've had to really grow our team. And actually COVID, in some ways, it's really, well, in many ways, it's helped our business because the short distance getaway has become very popular around our country. We're very fortunate in Missouri that our short-term rentals were not stopped by our governor. In some states it was. So we were able to take advantage of all these people whose vacations got canceled and that kind of thing. But at the same time, we were able to make a fantastic hire. In fact, we've made a lot of good hires from people that were furloughed from the hospitality industry. So it's been, there's been so many blessings to us in these past few months in that business. So, and I
That's
want
just
to
fun.
mention too, we talk about it being, it is kind of a hotel business, like a hospitality business, but it bridges over so well into real estate. And we get a huge number of buyers for properties from our rental pool. So that's where I really benefited when I got my license in real estate, is now all those people that say, hey, I want to buy my own property here, I didn't have to send them somewhere else. We take care of that right in our business, right in our team. So it's been fantastic in that way as well.
Yeah. So tell me, let's transition into your real estate team. So you started, how long ago was it that you started your real estate team?
So right when I started, right January 2014, I got my real estate license, started my business. Within 6 months, I hired an assistant, so a client care manager. That was my first hire, and then soon thereafter a buyer's agent. And it was a learning process, those first couple of years, like who to hire, what did I need, what to pay them, how many hours I needed, all of that. Getting a buyer's agent who could understand the same philosophy that I have for my business. And so that was in the first year, but we've grown so much since that. So now we've got 5 buyer agents, and we have my full-time client care coordinator who's really runs the operation. She's fully licensed realtor now, which is fantastic and super helpful. So transaction manager as well. So we've another separate person who handles the transactions. So
Well, that's kind of exciting to see that tremendous growth on your team. What was the big number for you from a real estate perspective? What did you feel like, boy, if I could just do this in real estate, then all of a sudden you believe you were a success. Now, I also want to hear what it felt like to be a rookie of the year.
that was cool. That was really cool because I didn't realize my first year how I had no idea that I was successful. I was just doing my thing. I was selling. I was mostly at the resort doing second homes. And one day, somebody in the office, another realtor, she said, "Have you do you realize where you rank in our company?" I didn't even know there was a ranking report. I didn't even know how to pull those reports out of the MLS. And she showed me, and I saw that I was number 3 in the company out of agents who'd been there for doing this for decades. And I had no idea what success was. I didn't even know when I started how real estate agents got paid. I was I was so naive. I didn't know anything. I came from corporate, right? So corporate background. So the first year when I did just under 6 million in sales that first year, which I then learned that that's a big number, even for a real estate agent who's been doing it for a long time. I was pretty proud, pretty excited, but also realized, oh my gosh, if I can do that with not really knowing what I'm doing,
Right.
there's a huge opportunity here. So now, what is that number? I mean, I'm such a believer in let's double it, that the Viralism. I don't think there's any one year that we've exactly doubled from the year before, but we have made a tremendous amount of progress. So this year, our goal going into the year was to close 35 million, which is a big number for us. And we are absolutely on track to do that, despite all the odds this year, we're going to make that number. And so next year, will it be 50, 60? It'll be something like that for sure.
We're like, we need like jazz hands. That's a huge accomplishment. Well, I remember when I got into real estate, Sarah, there was $1 million club. And if you sold $1 million worth of real estate, you got in the club. And I look at that and I think that's like poverty. So why are we giving awards for that? Now do that and do that in commissions is a pretty significant accomplishment. That's a step back and look at your life and realize that you've accomplished something tremendous. So congratulations, and really congratulations to your whole team, because
Yeah.
they're the ones that put it all together and do all the hard work. You're clearly the inspiration, but you must have some amazing team members.
We have really great team members and people that have been with us now for a few years, and we're always bringing in new team members and teaching them our systems. And and that's hard, to get people who have been doing it one way and then to show them a new way and to have them adapt. But we have a pretty good onboarding process now and good training, and we also, I think what's really important is we show a lot of value back to our team members, because they won't stay with us if they're not seeing value in what we have to offer in terms of training and systems and lead generation systems and all of those kinds of things. So that's something that's really important to me as the team leader, is to make sure that everybody on the team feels that we're providing them going above and beyond to help them be successful.
So if you don't mind, be specific with some of the things you do for your team to keep retention, to keep people feeling like there's value there, because that's a big challenge for a lot of teams, is they teach them the business well, and all of a sudden they're doing 3-4 deals a month, and then they want to go do it on their own. So what's the glue?
Right. So one of the important things I think is just having that full-time operations manager, client care coordinator on our team, because if you think about a realtor who's on their own, they may not have the money or the wherewithal to hire somebody to assist them. So that person to me, is the key to show very personalized service to every single one of our agents and to kind of handhold them to a certain extent. So Jessica on our team is that person. She's been with us for a couple of years, about 3 years, and she will do everything from she keeps her eye on our CRM and our lead tracker to make sure everybody's inputting everything correctly, and will help out if needed. She will help with if someone needs help with a walkthrough. She's licensed agent, she can do that. She'll put together closing books for our buyer agents that have all the inspection details and everything. So they would do that on their own, but Jessica does that for them. She prepares all the closing gifts, does all that kind of stuff. Really, she does our VIP referral program, which is a huge benefit to our buyer agents. So all of these things are being handled by someone, so that the buyer agents, really their job is just to show homes, negotiate contracts, and to prospect, and all that other stuff that you pay someone $10 to $15, $20, whatever an hour to do, is off their plate. And I tell them, if there's something that needs to be done that Jessica can do, let Jessica do it, because that's what she's here for. So that's probably one of the biggest benefits, I think. And of course, all the marketing, advertising, social media, all of that is handled for our buyer agents. They don't have to do it. What else? All the systems and training and lots and lots of stuff. And the daily, we do daily huddles every single morning with our agents. And if they were on their own, they wouldn't have that team of people to run ideas by or to cheerlead for them. So there's just a tremendous value of being in a community. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're an agent, you can miss that. And that, you don't sometimes realize you miss it until you have it. So that's something that I think provides value back.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I love that. And I know that tell me her name, your client care coordinator,
Jessica.
Jessica. I know Jessica's watching, and she's like 10, 15, $20 an hour. Yeah. Okay. I'm working on that. So I'm glad you stepped that up for her. I'm glad you made sure
She does get paid more than that. So
you know what? Our key people are worth every penny because they do so much. They allow us to do what we love. And I love that you went back to letting your buyer's agents, prospect, show homes, and negotiate contracts, and the team handles everything else. And people don't realize the value of that. But if you're I always like to say that, and it goes back to why you started this to begin with, that if you're going to spend time away from family, you just need to make it worth it. It's got to be worth it. So you spend the time doing the right things.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. But you know, I again coming from a corporate background in my professional career and seeing how all the different parts of a corporation work together. There's everyone has their specialty, but every single part is needed to make the whole operation work. And that's how I really run the team, that every person is needed. Everybody's got their role, but they don't have to do each other's jobs, you know, with so we have so
Right.
many people. And that's true on the vacation rental business as well.
Interesting. So yeah, you have some Trish Nash says to tell you hello with two hearts, and Ron Howard says hi. You've got some great people on the call that are listening in. Fun. So all right. So Sarah, let me ask you about your coaching experience. So you're a coach for Workman Success Systems. Was that an easy thing to decide to do? You first were coach for a little while, and I remember when you went through the coach interview process to become a coach. I remember that. So tell me about what it was like from your perspective.
So one of my goals was to be a coach, but I think I just floated that out there to my coach, who's Sarah Gouldy, not necessarily with Workmen, but just sometime in my life. You know, I just thought that would be something cool to do and something worthwhile. And so when I was invited to be a coach, I honestly was shocked I would get paid to do that. Sorry, I'm glad I am, but I
We can fix that. I can totally fix that.
no, but seriously, like I was so honored. It was such a huge honor that I would be asked to share my knowledge with others, which I absolutely love doing with my coaching clients. I love it.
And so what has that meant for you as far as how has it helped you in your own business? I mean, it's
Mhm.
interesting that because you're busier now than you were when you started coaching, your business has grown, your property management side is bigger, and yet you still find time to help others.
Yeah, well, I've had to really work on that time blocking because, and I've got it all figured out, and my team is incredibly supportive, and they know when I'm coaching that I'm coaching, and that's the most important thing in that moment. They can't interrupt me no matter what. Um, but what here's what I really think about with coaching. I know that I cannot coach people and teach them to do things that I am not myself doing. And so that is always sort of that's a reminder to me. If I'm telling someone that they need, you know, to do their lead follow up in such and such a way, and we're not doing that on our team, then I'm going back to my team saying, okay, we gotta step up a little bit because I realize that we're getting sloppy and this or that. Because when I'm teaching my coaching clients, I realized and I'm reminded how important this is. So oftentimes when I'm coaching, I've got a notepad next to my computer, and I sometimes make little notes to myself like, oh, don't forget, you know, just when I'm coaching, because it is so important to be reinforcing that in my own business.
You know,
So
it's interesting. I think that I would say that 99.9% of the coaching calls I'm on, I learn something from the client.
mhm.
Like I need it. I need that input. I need to see what they're challenged with because it pushes me to do better and create better systems, then go and apply them in my own business as well. And I see that you see that. And I love that you don't want to be a hypocrite. Like that's a harsh thing. That like when you look yourself in the mirror, you can't tell people to do something if you're not willing to do it yourself.
Yeah, and a lot of times my coaching clients will ask me, "Well, how do you do this in your team? Or how do you do this in your business?" And I can't lie. I have to be I have to tell them exactly what we're doing, and it darn well better be when I'm teaching, right?
Yeah, let me show you my trackers. Whoops, I don't have any. That doesn't work.
But and you know, that's a good example. Oftentimes I will bring up ours, you know, as an example. Like this is what we do, or this is how we do it, you know. If it's, you know, can I customize this form? I'll say, yeah, this is how you might want to customize it based on what we've done. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that, and we're very lucky to have you as a coach. Your clients absolutely love you, and it's fun to see. You know, I track everything from turnover to retention to all of those things, and it's very clear that we don't have to call and save your clients. They just love you. They're getting a great experience, and so just from my heart, thank you for all you do for our people because they grow and they love what they get when they have the opportunity to interact with you. And I think that's a great that says a lot about who you are.
thank you. It's my pleasure. It truly is. I love it. I love this company. You know, it's like a family, and I learned so much from all of the other coaches. I mean, we have got some amazing people. I'm humbled truly to be in the group. It's amazing what everybody's accomplishing out there across the country.
I just want you to know that I'm doing my best not to screw it up because I feel the same way. I'm just like, just don't screw it up because you got great people. My wife reminds me constantly, you better not screw this up, she says. All right. So let's go a little bit back to your to your TV background. I want to hear more about that. Like, how did you get into TV? And are you still doing stuff on the networks, or do you do stuff for local TV?
Yeah, a little bit on local. So I've had to scale back a little bit because my business has really grown so much. But I really got into, well, going back, my undergrad was in music performance. So performing has always been something that I love doing. And as in theater in, high school mostly, but after I got out of school, started working, I have such a true love for the arts, and my kids and I started doing a lot of theater together, so community theater. So that was just a really fun thing that I could do with them, where we auditioned together and we'd be on stage together, and we were all totally equal. I was not mom on stage. I was like another actor, another performer. So we did that. And then I just always had an interest in doing television. So um, it's right around the time probably when I was starting up that vacation rental business, I started doing some TV hosting for one of the local stations. Just definitely there was one show I did every single week, and then I would do occasional like opening day of the St. Louis Cardinals ball game, go down and do interviews, that kind of thing. It was super fun. I absolutely love interacting with people and doing interviews. So I did a regular show called STL Live, which is a talk show about things going on in St. Louis. It's, people that are very influential, big organizations, community events, big companies, new companies to town, a lot of actors coming in to perform in St. Louis, a lot of arts related cultural events. So I did the weekly show. Never talked about real estate. I was not a realtor on that show. I was a TV host completely, and I had two separate identities. Then about a year ago, I gave up doing the regular show because truly, I mean, I'd be walking into the studio, working a deal, walking out of the studio, finishing the deal, and it was just busy, right, with my team and everything and coaching and all that. So now I host a show that is it shoots at night. It's called The Issues, and it's about it's like current events. It's more of like in-depth conversations about things that we need to be talking about. So whether it's teacher pay or race relations or anything like that, it's more of an in-depth show, which is super interesting. It shoots at night. It airs on the networks, and then we're in the process now, though, I'm super excited about this, of creating a show that is about real estate. So we're taking the two things. The TV station approached me because I know I have this other life and that's pretty big. And they said, could you do a real estate show for us? And so what we are creating is something that is not like your typical real estate show where you're just showing houses and a tour through the house and they're super boring and nobody wants to watch them. So we're doing more of like a really fun, high energy, almost like a Regis and Kelly kind of show about just talking to buyers and sellers and stagers and decorators, all in a very chatty conversational format. So we're getting ready to shoot the pilot in a couple of weeks. We're just finalizing our guests right now, and it'll be a network show, and it'll have the opportunity to be syndicated across the country. So who knows where that's going to go, but we're moving it forward, and that's the important thing.
Well, that is so exciting. Congratulations. I love that you get to take what you love with the TV and real estate and bring them together and interview people. It's going to be, I'll watch it. You can sign me up.
I'll send you a copy, send you a link.
Yeah, well, definitely. And I'll share it with everybody else. I think you have a bunch of people on here. They're giving you lots of hearts and love and saying congratulations. So that's really fun. I'm excited for you. We have several clients that have been, on House Hunters and $1 Million Listing and other things like that. And it is interesting how much those shows are staged. And,
Oh, yeah.
And if we had realtors that actually acted the way a lot of these people act on TV, they wouldn't make any money. Like you have to, there's a different level that great agents perform at, and they don't do it for show. They do it because they authentically care about people.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, finding guests for my show I'm having other agents, are going to be on the show. And I've been really thinking about what is that person that we want on the show? What kind of energy do they need? And but they need to be real. And that's really important. The real is the most important thing. So
I absolutely agree with that. So how have you used your ability, I'm going to say your background in TV and acting and theater and all that? How have you used that in your real estate business, and how's it helped you at all during COVID?
Well, obviously we shoot a lot of videos, so that's pretty easy for me. So it's just something that I have a lot of training in. It comes very naturally to me to be in front of a camera, to be interviewing other people. So I've done videos for my business where I'm interviewing, kind of like the TV show where I interview someone who's in the industry, maybe a vendor, a moving company, a staging company, or whatever. And we shoot little snippet videos, 2-minute, 3-minute videos, and I use them as ads for my business. So that's something that I've done during COVID. My TV station reached out to me and they said, "Could you do kind of?" They created a show called At Home St. Louis, and it was just about how were realtors, how was the real estate industry managing virtually through this COVID situation. And so in that show, I was actually able to say, I am a TV host, but I'm also a realtor, and this is the life I'm living. And we shot everything on Zoom, which was super cool. It's very easy to do. It's just like CNN or, whoever, everybody's doing it. So we did that during COVID. I did 6 episodes that show, little mini series, 20-minute episodes. And then, also, I think just being really tapped into the community, because I meet so many people. And so it's really easy when I'm talking to people to make personal connections, like, "Oh, do you know so-and-so? I know that they run such and such company, and, I've met them before. I've done a TV interview with them." So that, I would say, is probably the number one way that it helps me in my business. And then just, being very familiar with what's going on in the city. I mean, in order to be on the TV station, you have to read the daily newspaper. That is a requirement. You have to know what is going on every single day in the marketplace. So that is really good for anyone who's selling property in the marketplace, to know what's really going on. So
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing for everyone to do, is to read their local papers. It's, these national newspapers and news stations have gotten so political and so agenda focused that it's hard to actually know what's going on. And so
mhm.
I love the local news, because you have local beat reporters that are telling you what's going on, and you can read through it. And oftentimes they won't have an agenda, which I appreciate in the news. It's hard to find that on a
Yeah,
national scale.
every section, even the sports pages. I mean, I learned so much about what's going on in our market, in our community. So
Yeah, that's a great thing. I need to make my children watch and read the local news and do that better, because I think that's something that will keep them better informed.
yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and you can have better conversations. It gives you the ability to ask better questions.
Totally. Yeah, I have a son who's an athlete, and I'm constantly pulling out articles that I think he would love about local athletes, and I make him read them.
You sit here and read that.
Yeah.
I have a son that's an athlete. All he wants to do is play his sports. That's that they eat, drink, and sleep it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's why they need to read a little bit too about
All
it.
right, so let's talk. Let's give some sage advice. Let's talk a little bit about what you would tell someone who wants to start a team today, going into business today. Like, in this climate, in this world, there's a lot of people that are hesitating. They're holding back. They're waiting for things to change. You're not someone who sat back during COVID. You've grown.
Oh yeah, we grew. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, and this is true during COVID. It's true every single day. Is show up. Number one. Show up. Start your day. Have a day. Like, have a start and an end to your day. So often, I think in real estate, we wait for the business to come to us. Instead, just like you show up to your job at, you know, General Electric or whatever at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, show up, be there, be ready to start. And that is like my number one advice to anybody who's starting out in real estate, is treat it like a business from day one. Um, and and I wouldn't hesitate in hiring help, because help doesn't cost that much, and help is going to help you grow. And we all have ideas, and being entrepreneurs, we we keep those ideas in, but if you can share them with someone who can help you grow that idea into an actual something. It might just be, hey, I've always loved the idea of doing such and such event, or I want to, create a database. Oh my gosh, how many real estate agents don't have a database? Have someone help you put together that list of 100 people. It's amazing to me how many agents I talk to who've been in the business for a couple decades who don't even have a Excel spreadsheet.
It's kind of freaky, actually. It's like, what?
It kind of is, but it's just the basics, like, just let's think about, if you were going to start a business, kind of like you asked me, what was that metric of success when we started the vacation rental business, and it was 100 nights. What is that? What's that metric that you're working towards? Come up with that number.
I remember my dad was a school teacher. Sarah, I don't know if you knew this, but he, like when I got into business, my first goal was to make as much as he did as a school teacher. And I set my goal based on what I believed was possible. And I remember hitting that $40,000 in a year and thinking that I just, I'd now finally made it. I'd finally made success.
Yeah.
And until I hit that, did I not start realizing that there were other benchmarks and other goals that became possible. And what it really came down to me was to finding people that were in a different place and just watching and learning from them, because they're no different than you and I. They just focus on different activities,
Yeah.
right? They have the same skills or the same gifts. They just focus their attention on different things and they get a bigger result. So that was a big thing for me. So I love that. Make every day a day, like a beginning and end of your day. It shouldn't bleed over. When you go home, you need to be home and be present with your family.
Right.
That's really good advice. The second thing you said that I think will resonate with everybody is have a database. Like, you got to get your database in order. Get 100 people, put them in an Excel spreadsheet, but have a list that you're calling and constantly talking to. Um, what are some other principles of success that you like to follow? You said hire help, get help.
Yeah. Hire somebody to help you out. If it's that start, I think you talk about this, Earl. Don't think, sometimes we get overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me $25,000 a year to hire somebody, or 30,000, whatever the number is. And we think
Right.
in that big number, but instead think of it in terms of 3 months. I'm going to make a 3-month commitment to bringing in someone to help me in my business. If I don't see a return on what I've spent on that person in 3 months, then I'm doing something wrong, or not the right fit. So instead of thinking of it as a 12-month commitment, think of it as a 3-month commitment. And chances are that $9,000 you spend, or whatever, 8,000 on that 3 months, you're going to make that up because you're going to get an extra deal or two, because now you've got someone helping you, and it seems much more approachable.
I really like that. Something you said in your questions before our interview today, I thought was really interesting, and that was that you've had lots of coaches. You believe in, like, having people that look at your business from the outside. Tell me about some of those good experiences you've had.
So from the beginning, I'd say within the first 6 months, my broker, at the time, who's still my broker, actually, she recommended a
You can
coach.
say her name.
But her name, Jill
Yeah,
Butler. Yeah, she owns Red Key Realty in St.
love
Louis,
it.
Missouri. So my friend Jill, she's wonderful. So Jill had suggested that I hire a real estate coach, and that coach taught me. You remember, I was brand new to this. I mean, I felt like I was at the command of all these other agents in the marketplace, and this is how it's always done. And this agent, or this coach, she was from a different marketplace. She's like, no, Sarah, you train these agents to work your way. And she taught me that I had a lot of power in my business to manage my business the way I thought it should be managed. That I wasn't at the whim of all these other agents who were trying to control the way I was running my business, and which included working at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, because people would call me then. I thought I had to answer the phone, and I learned I didn't have to. So coaching, and that coach, her name is Jana Caudill. Jana was my first coach, and she was fantastic. I learned so much. And then I was introduced to Workman through Rick Jihak, came and spoke at our brokerage in St. Louis. I met Nate, your son, that day, and transitioned to the Workman program, which had more systems and things that at that point, as I was growing, I really needed. And so what I think about coaching, I still have my coach, Sarah Gouldy, who's been my coach at Workman's, I guess, my goodness, I think we're on 4 years now, something
Wow.
like that. I can't let go of Sarah, because she knows my business inside and out. She knows me. I mean, we have cried together. We have laughed together. We've had the ups and downs, but the way I think of a coach is it's like your board of directors, so when we have these businesses, and we're entrepreneurs and we're business owners, we still need a guidepost, and we need someone to bounce ideas off of. And it doesn't need to be our spouse, because they get really tired of that as well. our friends. So having a coach is like your little mini board of directors, and it's someone to run ideas by, to give you advice, to to create ideas with, all of those things.
I talked to Sarah this morning. She's recovering from COVID, poor girl,
I know.
and she's still has a hard time getting her lungs back. And so we wish her the best, and she does a tremendous job for us. I love that you love her and that she's part of your board of directors of one.
Yes, but that's all I need. I just need her. She's fantastic.
Julie Sims says, thank you for sharing and thanks for being here. And I think that that echoes a lot of our listeners today. Sarah, you are such an exceptional individual. I love that you have just such a positive energy about everything that you do. Do you ever have downtime? Do you ever have time where you just are like, I don't know if I can do this anymore?
Well, okay, that's two different questions. Do I have downtime? Yes, I'm a big fitness freak. I love to work out. I try to do that every day to start my day. It's a time when I get a lot of ideas when I'm away from the office and from the computer. I love to read. I love to go to the theater. I love time with friends. I love movies. That's my downtime. And then the other part of that was, do I ever feel like I can't do this anymore? Oh my gosh, every now and then, I have to admit, I get overwhelmed, and I usually just need to take a walk or talk to someone in my office. Sometimes even Jessica, poor thing, like I'll just pull her in and say, I just need to vent. Just sit here and listen and don't say anything. So it's good to have people around.
You see, I love that because it makes you real. You know, when we talk about performance and high performers and people that do great things, everybody sees the big numbers and the income and the goals, and they don't really see the real struggle that we have. I think everybody feels like they get discouraged sometimes, or they feel like it's just too much, or they need to change the way they do things. And the fact that you're willing to admit that openly and on a public forum, and then say, hey, sometimes I have to go for a walk, or pull my assistant in and say, am I losing my mind here? I do that. I do that too. And, you know, having great people around you makes such a huge difference.
Mm.
And you have to be able to unwind. I love that you love to exercise. Is there a favorite unwinding activity? My wife and I, the thing that we've missed the most during COVID is movies.
I
Like
know.
like date night Friday nights, going to the movies. We just haven't been doing that. And so now on Friday night, we look at each other like, well, you want to make popcorn again? I mean, it's just not as fun. I like movie theater. I like someone else making my popcorn.
I know. I used to go like every week. I had a goal to one night a week after work, I would stop at a movie theater on my way home by myself, sometimes with a friend, but oftentimes by myself. And I would get popcorn and it would be in the dark and no one knew where I was. And I watch a movie and then I go home. And that all came to an abrupt halt, but it'll come back. So
It's going to come back in a big way. And I hope everybody stays in business till it does.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. My goodness. We should all be staying in business right now.
Well, in real estate for sure, there's a lot of people that have been just horribly affected by this disease.
Movie theaters. Yeah.
Yeah, I worry about them. I worry about all these small entrepreneurs that make their living by, you know, serving people that haven't been able to come in. So
Yeah.
even taking the kids to the mall for school shopping is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they're understocked. There's nothing on the shelves. Everyone's wearing masks. It's just a strange environment that we live in.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you for one thing. Give me one thing that you would say is the greatest thing that you've learned that has helped you be successful that you'd like to share with our group, and we'll wrap on that. What's the one thing you'd like to share with our audience today that would make the biggest impact on their lives?
Um, oh boy, that's a really tough one. I would say don't let the business run you. You know, I think we fall into that trap early on, and we lose ourselves in our business. So I think managing it and finding balance is really, really important.
Well, that is a great one, is to not let the business run you. Run the business. Choose your uptime and your downtime and check out. And that's been a consistent theme with our interview today. On behalf of Workman Success and all of our friends and our family, thanks for being part of us, and thanks for being part of our flash briefing today. And I wish you continued success as you double next year.
Oh yeah, you know I will.
I know you will. I know that you will. Thanks everybody, and I appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.